Welcome students. There's a good news regarding the economic condition of India in terms of external sector. After 11 quarters, RBI reported surplus and balance of payment for this quarter. The first quarter of the financial year 25, FY25. So in this context, let's try to understand the economic concepts around the external sector and balance of payment. So without any delay, let's start the topic. Balance of payment. To understand this, let's first understand the necessity of external trade. As no country is self-sufficient, it need to depend upon other nations, other countries for the resources to either process it to produce a new product to export or import for its own consumption. In this context, the central banks have to maintain a balance sheet as they can't transfer the currencies for every transaction. They would go for a netting. So a bilateral netting, after calculating the to and fro payments, they would go for a net amount which is either to be transferred or received. So that balance sheet is maintained by central banks. This balance sheet, the net amount to be transferred or received, is nothing but balance of payment. To understand this balance of payment, we need to understand the components that form it. So you have under balance of payment two kinds of components. Let's just understand why they are classified that way. Firstly, the first component is current account, and the second is capital account. Instead of just listing out and remembering all the items that come under capital and current account, which can be exhaustive list, and it's not easy to remember everything else, let's try to understand the logic behind its classification so that it would be helpful for you to understand this economics better. And this accounts may feature as part of your prelims and mains of UPSC examination. So the classification is that anything that forms under current account does not need any returning back of the amount. Suppose you bought a shirt or a marker or this board, it is for your consumption, or it will be converted into another product that it won't be returned back. So after that, any payment that you give to the other party would not be returned back. Hope you understood that. There is no liability or there is no responsibility to give it back. Such items would form current account. Please don't get confused about 1 year duration or more than 1 year duration. It's about not having any liability to give it back. Instead, the capital account has everything, any receipt of funds or any outflow of funds that would form getting back to the original destination. So with this criteria, let's look at the examples and cross verify if it is fitting the condition. So it's about trade of merchandise. So trade of merchandise, when I say merchandise, it's about goods, any kind of good, and these are visible things. Any good you ship to other country, it is visible, right? So when it's visible, the trade of merchandise is pretty clear. But when you ship or transfer services to the other country, it is invisible. So when it is trade of invisibles, this invisibles trade includes services. This kind of things doesn't require anything to return it back once you receive the funds and transfer the goods or services that is exchanged. that forms part of current account. But when it comes to capital account, either it is investment in form of foreign direct investment or foreign portfolio investment or any other kind of investments, or loans. Loans can be short term, long term, anything else. Please remove the misconception if you have anything that if the loan is given for few months or line of credit, still it forms part of capital account because the obligation to return it back someday with principal and interest together lies with you. So this forms part of capital account. Hope you are clear with this concept. At least I made it easy to understand. If that is the case, let's move on to the last part of it. Then what actually the balance of payment is? Balance of payment is nothing but net of current account. That means how much you receive or you need to pay after balancing all the payments from goods and service exchange, plus the same goes with current account as well. Sorry, as we said, current, it's capital account. So this net part, if any errors and omissions are left, I mean, if there is any rounding of errors or some kind of errors left, then you can add this as well. So the net of this would form balance of payment. If it's clear, then there might be a question: can we use the investment to pay for the consumption under current account? Because as the liability or obligation to return back lies with capital account, if we pay the money which we get as part of loans or investment to make sure current account deficit is covered, would that be a problem in future when we have to return back the capital account? If this question serves, yes, you're analytically right, and this question takes to a new situation where the convertibility of currency comes into question. So is rupee convertible? Is capital account or current account convertibility lies in India? It's completely opening up of economy. Did we open up to that level is the question, for which you may find questions in mains to discuss advantages and disadvantages of it and the threats and benefits of it. But just for information, in India, the convertibility is partial. That means there is no complete convertibility. As the convertibility is partial, the imminent threat is, at least for now, is pushed. And India's forex reserves are sound enough to absorb the shocks. So there is no problem of threats due to convertibility that India is facing presently. Hope the whole concept of external sector to an extent which could be covered in this video is clear. I think it became more lucid to understand than the conceptual clarity that you have before watching this video. I would be back before you another day with much more conceptual concept, and hope I will make it easier in next video with another concept. Till then, thank you.